Loading Up Podcast. Game on.
Perfect.
Welcome back to the Loading Up Podcast. I am your host, Producer J, along with my other co-host, Brother Zay.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, man? Before we get started, just want to remind you that if you're watching us on YouTube, you can like, comment, and subscribe. We definitely appreciate it. And we want to hear from you. We want to interact with you. And if you're listening to us on a podcasting app, you can share us, rate us, and do all that nice stuff to get us into the earballs of everybody that you know. Also, if you look into the description, you can see our sponsors, which is NordVPN, W Energy, and Starforge PCs. You can use our links and codes to save some money off of subscriptions and all that good stuff, because we're trying to save you money out here. We know times is rough. So do that, and it'll help us, and we thank you, and we thank them. That being said, Brother Zay, what have you been playing?
Oh, man. I've been playing a ton of Helldivers.
Yeah?
As in, I had it on Steam when it first came out, and I think I was like a level like 19 or something, which is a lot because it takes a lot to get leveled up, you know? A lot of XP. And I purchased it again when it came out on Xbox to support the devs. That's what we do at Xbox. We buy games.
Right.
So I've been playing a lot of Helldivers 2, and just even if it's by myself, I'll jump into random matches and I'll play with a bunch of randoms, you know, spreading managed democracy. And it has been a ton of fun. I've also been playing other games. You know, I haven't touched much of Call of Duty, even though they have a new season out. I've been playing Ready or Not, Helldivers 2. I jumped into some I Am Your Beast, which dropped on Gamepass, as well as trying to finish the Rogue Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Helldivers 2 has been taking up most of my time. I'll come home from work, play a couple missions, and then go to bed. It's been taking up a lot of time.
Nice. Did you get a chance to try Hollow Knight?
I did try Hollow Knight. Not my cup of tea.
No.
No.
But not everything can be,
Yeah.
It's like that sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, if people love it, more power to them. Glad that they're loving it. Glad that they're having fun. It feels, for like a Metroidvania, it feels too slow to me. Maybe because it's early game, I'm still early, but still, it's like, I don't feel like, like for me, I'm having more fun playing the Rogue Prince of Persia and Helldivers 2. So I'm like, Silksong can wait, or it can just be there,
Yeah. And for me personally, I feel like I can't even start that unless I play the first one. So I don't even want to touch it until I even do the first one. If I do the first one, who knows? We'll see. Actually, I think, what's the first one on Game Pass? I think it is. It might still be.
I don't know. I could check right now, but I don't know. I know the second one is for sure.
Yeah, I know the second one just launched in Game Pass, but I know the first one, I think I was gonna buy it, but I was gonna get it for my son because he had beaten Cuphead, and he wanted like more games to play that are like challenging. So I suggested that one. Yeah, but it was already on Game Pass.
It is on Game Pass. Hollow Knight: The Void Heart Edition.
Oh, okay. So then, you can play both of them.
Yes, you can play both of them. Maybe I gotta, because I never really got into Hollow Knight. Maybe I'll go back and see what Hollow Knight the first one is, because everybody raves about it,
Yeah.
And at least on the Xbox game, on the Game Pass app here on the PC, both of them are doing really well in terms of numbers of people playing them.
Yeah, no, it's doing crazy numbers.
Oh, yeah, on Steam, yeah, Hollow Knight Silksong was doing absolutely insane numbers.
Yeah. As far as what I've been playing,
yes, talk to me.
So, I mean, I've still been doing a little bit of like Blueprints, playing a little bit of Super Hot. Just those are my like break games at work. But in terms of like the main games I've been playing, I've been bouncing back and forth between two games in particular. One, if you're watching right now, just released Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake
yeah.
Eater. I've been playing a lot of that, and it's like a dream, man. Like it's everything I wanted in a remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. It's the same game but better, and there's more to do. So it's like the best version of this game, I think. I know maybe others, they're purists. Oh, you got to play the original on PS2 and whatever. Fuck all that noise. But for me, I feel like this is the best version, especially for newcomers. And it it's interesting too because this a lot they have a new way to play that kind of takes the controls from Metal Gear Solid 5 and they kind of adapt it to work here. But they don't make it too OP because obviously I don't know if you've played Metal Gear Solid 5. Like in my opinion, it has the best controls for any game. Like it feels so fluid and so smooth, and you have so much control over what you do and stuff like that. Honestly, that's what held the game together for me because the story was kind of meh, but the gameplay, just playing as Snake, it felt incredible. And I wish more games would try to look at that, more like action stealth games or like those types of games will look at that and learn from that because that felt the best to play. So they took that and basically adopted it to this, and it feels like a brand new game, honestly. Um, it's like different in terms of like how you control and stuff like that. So you really like, even if you've played Metal Gear Solid 3 like a dozen times like I have, if you play on the new style, it's like you're playing it for the first time kind of. So I really appreciate that. I haven't even touched the other modes. I know they have on PlayStation and Steam they have Snake versus Monkeys,
Wow.
and on X, yeah, I know. It was supposed it's like a tie-in with Ape Escape, so you can catch like the ape escape monkeys or whatever, but PlayStation owns the rights to that and they don't want to put it on Xbox, whatever. So on Xbox, which what I have it on, it's Snake versus Bomberman, which honestly I think is cooler because that's a brand new mode. Well, not it's the same mechanics, but it's a new mode technically. If you've played the original, because on the PS2 version they re-released it with extra modes and stuff that also had Snake versus Monkeys. But this is the first time they're using Bomberman, so I think that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, so I've been playing a lot of that. Also, I mentioned before, I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts. Uh, the first one, it's in the collection or whatever, but I'm playing like through the whole series or whatever. Um, and I'm surprisingly doing better than I thought I would because I did start it on the hardest difficulty, and I stopped because I was like kind of intimidated because I usually don't play games on hardest difficulty, and all the other games that I have played on hardest difficulty, it's a time sink. But this one, like, I'm moving through it at a decent pace. I haven't really gotten stuck anywhere. Yeah, I've died a few times, and it is still challenging, but nothing that feels like too much, you know?
Okay.
So I'm glad about that, and I'm still working my way through, but I'm bouncing back and forth, and it's funny. I feel like I'm back in the freaking early 2000s because these are literally two games that came out in like 2002, 2003, 2004, and I'm just loving it. It's a whole nostalgia trip, but it's great. I've also been playing Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously, we're still in Act 3. We're trying to, sweep up all the side missions and stuff. One thing that I did, which I wish I did sooner. So I was struggling to figure out like my equipment and all that stuff, and I wanted to know because I felt like the way I leveled up was just like I wasn't feeling it. Like I kind of like in the beginning I was like just picking anything, but now that I got a feel for how everything went, I was like, man, I wish I would have done that because I realized that there were abilities I could have gotten if I leveled up. Because at first I did a half rogue, half druid,
Okay.
leveling up, but then I was like, I don't even use the druid stuff. Like I don't turn into animals much. I don't really heal. Even if I did heal, it's only like 5 health. Like, what is that gonna do? I guess it could get out of pinch, but there's other ways to go about it. So I was like, I wasn't really using the druid stuff. So I was like, man, I wish I would have leveled up differently. So I was like, I can re-level up. I could just respec.
Yes, you
And
can.
I did that and I respect. And now like I feel a lot better. I've gotten so much different abilities that I had to use items for. Like I had to use an invisibility ring to turn invisible. But if I just leveled up properly, I could just gotten that, you know? And there was just a bunch of examples like that where I was just like, wow, like I should have just stayed with the rogue. I shouldn't have dual classed it.
Yeah.
Um
The
that
dual
I mean,
class thing, it really like you gotta really know what you're doing in
right.
order to do everything, and then spec your character to a way where you want to play. Because if not, you'll miss out.
Yeah. And one of the issues was that I wanted to use the main thing that started it was my weapons. I wanted to have better weapons. So then I looked up to see like what's the best weapons I can get for a rogue, and one of them I already passed because it was like in Act 1, I missed it. The other one is coming up, but I needed it now. I can't, like I don't want to wait. So I was starting to look, and I did notice, well, I didn't notice, but I as a rogue, you can gain the ability to dual wield regular weapons that you don't normally get to dual wield. But I
Okay.
skipped that during the upgrade process because I don't know, I just skipped it. But I respect and everything, and now I got it, and now I have one of the weapons I already had, and I just never used it because it was only a one-handed weapon. Now I can use that with another weapon, and now like I got two. I think one of them is like 11 to 22, and then the other one is like 10 to 21. So I'm like, and they do fire damage and necrotic damage and acid
Oh,
damage.
oh, dang.
Yeah. So I was like, yo, now I feel capable. So
Yeah.
um yeah, it was just I've never done that before in like a game. Like I know other RPGs let you respec, but I was just like, I don't want to mess up anything. But this time
No.
like I I I feel better about it. And also like I just happened to I ran into I think his name is Damon. Um or Damien, not Damien. The tiefling that helps you with Karlach and stuff.
Okay.
He's like the forger or whatever. He's a merchant, and
Yes.
um yeah, so I found him in Act 3 finally. I don't know why it took me so long to find him. And just randomly, like I gave him something and he forged some armor for me.
Oh,
And I was
yes.
like,
The oh, dang, I forgot what they called, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it's like the flawed something. But I don't know what item I gave him. So I just happened to have it, and I had 3 of them, and he made me the armor, the helmet, and the gauntlets.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yep.
was like, oh shit. So
You
in
did. You're
addition
doing that in Act 3 because you could do that in Act 2.
well, I didn't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I just happened to talk to him and said, here, use this. And I gave it to him. I didn't even know I had it. I don't know what I gave him. So
It's like a steel thing that you can't really use for anything besides a blacksmith. Like you give it to him and he'll make something for you.
no, well, I just
Yeah.
discovered it by accident. So in addition to respecking and gaining like better abilities, I also got better armor. So I'm happy.
Yeah, no, the this is why Baldur's Gate 3 is a perfect game where you can play multiple times and experience things very differently.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly why, because you'll learn new things, you'll find new things, you'll like you did that in Act 3, I did in Act 2. We have so our playthroughs are so very different. So that's
Right.
why I love the game, because like it's the story is the same, but the
Yes.
outcome and the things you do, the journey is very different.
Yeah, it varies, and like there's so many twists and turns and stuff like that. Now it's no wonder why it took so long to make, which it has me excited, but also kind of like sad because I know Larian is making something else, but we're probably not gonna see that until like next gen, if that. Probably like 2029, if we're lucky.
Let them cook.
I know I'll wait. it's worth it, but I want more now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, that's the main things I've been playing though.
Yeah. I want to just real quick talk about like Helldivers 2 because I was talking about how I was playing it a lot, and the numbers for Helldivers 2 specifically on Xbox in the first reportedly in the first 6 days it sold 1 million copies,
Yeah,
which was faster than the first 6 days on PlayStation. I mean, still not doing the same numbers as on Steam, but it's I think I look at that as a success. That's 1 million copies in 6 days. That's
that's
insane.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that flies in the face of all the people who say the Xbox players don't buy games. Clearly, that is not true. It's just we gotta wait for a good game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's even if just that was just everybody brought the regular edition of the game, that's an additional what, $40 million in Sony's pocket that they didn't have before.
Exactly. All
You
all
know?
this should indicate that this is not going to be the only game that we see ported over from PlayStation. And
Ooh.
yeah, we'll have fanboys saying like, "Oh, it's just going to be live service games. Oh, it's just going to be double A games. It's not going to be triple A. Oh, it's just going to be games that released like 10 years ago." It's like they're going to constantly move the goalposts. We already know, but this is not going to be the last one. I don't know what the next one is, but it's we're gonna hear about it soon,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and it's good. It's exciting. That's
no,
because
it absolutely is exciting because I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you. If they bring like The Last of Us, like the remake part 1, they bring that, I'll buy it again because I bought it, I played it on the PlayStation. I'll buy it again just to have achievements. The game was a good game, you know?
yeah,
And I can say confidently that's the mentality of Xbox gamers in general. You know, we live in like, especially us, we live in the bubble of Twitter where we get to see the news all the time. But most gamers on Xbox, they don't they don't see that. They don't know
yeah,
about the stuff that goes on. That is a literal bubble. Everybody's just buying games and playing games. This week,
yeah,
my friends group, Ron and Brea, they purchased Helldivers 2 with me, and they also purchased Ready or Not. You know, we're just buying games and playing games.
yeah. I think what this means though is that the landscape is changing, and it's gonna have like a ripple effect in terms of like people's buying habits, because I know for a long time and a lot of people feel this way that they'll stick to wherever their friend group is, or like wherever the games they play, whether like Madden or 2K, whatever their niche is, they'll stick to that. um but then they'll hear about other games. Like if they're on PlayStation, they'll hear about like, oh, Gears of War, Halo, and Forza, and Fable, and all the other games that they're releasing, and they'll be like, oh man, that sucks. I wish I could play it on PlayStation, but I'm not gonna go out and buy an Xbox for that. Like, I'll just stick to this. And the same goes for Xbox. Like, we've heard so many people say like, oh, like, yeah, Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man, those are cool, but I mainly play on Xbox, so maybe I'll get one day or whatever. But now they don't have to. And now they can actually look forward to a future where, hey, that game might come to my platform and come to me and I can buy it. And there's a lot of patient gamers out there. I'll tell you that much. Um, so the fact that that mentality is changing, that's a good thing. And a lot of people still stick to the whole like, oh, exclusives matter. Exclusives are the lifeblood of the console. Like, consoles are going away. Like, we've already seen this. Consoles are going away. We have maybe one more generation of sort of traditional consoles. And maybe Nintendo will go a little bit further because they're always the last to the party. But um the landscape is changing, and traditional consoles are going away. There's going to be a change. There's going to be a hybrid, whatever you want to call it, but it's changing, and I think it's ultimately for the betterment of gamers and consumers. But for whatever reason, people they just can't get past their old school mentality. You would think we're back in like 2005, 2006. Like I was talking about playing freaking games from that era. The other people still have the mentality of that era. Like all
Yeah.
exclusives are the only thing that matters. It's like, no, the console wars are done. This over. Stop clinging on to it. I don't understand why you want it to continue. It was
Yeah.
never good. Yeah, maybe I don't want to say never. At one point, it caused like these companies to, fight for our dollars. But those dollar values are shrinking for them. And that's why they can't continue to do them, because they're not making that much back. Return on interest is shrinking. So that's why they're changing things up. So I don't know. I look forward to the future where we can just all play games on whatever we want to play on.
You know what it is? Is that a lot of people have built their YouTube channels and their their
Yes.
streams. They built it on the console war. They have their whole identities tied to that plastic box.
Right.
So the grift continues.
Yeah, it's the sunken cost fallacy. They put so much into this console war, console feud, all that stuff, into hating the other platforms simply because it's not their preferred platform.
Yeah.
And they can't go back because it'll cost them. And that's why they don't like the future, because they're gonna have to adapt and they don't want to adapt. So, and then like we said, with the Twitter bubble, it always feeds off of negativity. And what's the best way to increase negativity? Conflict. And that's what they want to continue the conflict,
I
but there
want
shouldn't be
problem.
any. Yes. They want problems. They like the problems because they benefit from it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move into more problems. We got Crystal Dynamics. They have officially laid off an unknown number of workers following the cancellation of Perfect Dark. So it's in a statement on LinkedIn where they announced it. There's no official word on how many people were laid off, but the statement reads, "Today we made the very difficult decision to part ways with a number of our talented colleagues as a result of evolving business conditions. This decision was not made lightly. It was necessary, however, to ensure that the long-term health of our studio and core creative priorities in a continually shifting market." That's their full statement, which to me reads like AI, like a typical AI.
Yeah.
Oh, constant shifting market. It's bullshit. People lost their jobs.
Yeah.
Um, games were not canceled though. Like their new game that they're working on with Tomb Raider, that is still in development, so that's a good sign. But
Yeah.
people still lost their jobs.
Well, I mean, this was prior to it, but I mean, we do have the cancellation of Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
So that kind of probably led into it. And I don't know if we talked about it before, the whole situation regarding that game, where Crystal Dynamics was trying to seek extra funding for the game with Take-Two. And
I think they were
Microsoft,
trying to sell the IP or something like that.
so they were trying to figure out a deal where they can get the extra funding under Take-Two instead of Microsoft, or maybe in collaboration with Microsoft. Like, I guess Take-Two and Microsoft would share, but they couldn't agree on who would own the IP, whether it be Microsoft or Take-Two.
I see.
I guess Take-Two wanted to buy the IP, and Microsoft was like, no. You
Yeah,
can
they
fund
couldn't
it,
come
you
to
can
a
help
deal.
us, and you can get the revenue, but you're not going to own the IP. And that was it. And the deal fell through.
I mean,
And
I
that,
wouldn't give up the IP either if I was them.
well, yes, but considering what happened, like they sunk all this money into the IP just to cancel the game. Like, are they going to use the IP now? I don't know. They had their opportunity to do it, and then they didn't. So is it really worth owning the IP, or they just want to hoard the IP just because they don't want other people to make money off of it? I don't know. It's
I see.
all corporate nonsense. It's way over my head, but
Yeah.
yeah, it sucks because there could have been an avenue for the game to continue development, but because corporate being corporate, it just fell through, and that's what probably led to these layoffs. Because if they couldn't secure funding, then they can't continue to pay these people at the studio, which
Yeah, I
sucks
mean,
ultimately.
yeah, it sucks. Exactly. I was just gonna say that it just really sucks. You
Yeah,
know, the whole situation between Crystal Dynamics firing because of Perfect Dark cancellation. At the very least, there are developers that are still working on the next Tomb Raider game that is in
yeah,
development. It's just we have to hope that these people bounce back or find other jobs in different studios or different publishers.
yeah. Again, like it's like it feels like every episode we're talking about layoffs and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it sucks.
It's one of the bad parts of covering this industry, because if you were like outside of it, you wouldn't even know anything was going on. You just like, oh, just video games. I love video games. I'm gonna play video games.
Yeah,
But like we talk about behind the scenes stuff, talk about corporate stuff and all that. It's good. It's cool sometimes, but at the same time, it can also be depressing when you hear about all these layoffs. So I don't know.
yeah.
It's we grow desensitized to it.
Yeah. Well, following layoffs, we get some good news out of the Diablo developers. They have unionized. So workers at Diablo are the latest arm to Bethesda's unionization with Communication Workers of America, or CWA. Uh, which helped CW helped Microsoft owned studios unionize, saying that over 450 developers across multiple uh studios and within Bethesda all voted to union in favor to unionize. And they said they've been working on this for a very long time, and it is great news, especially after the layoffs with Crystal Dynamics or any layoffs in general within the tech industry. You hear about people unionizing and you think that's the only way to fight back.
Right. And I think we said it on the last episode that this is, if you want to combat layoffs, this is the way to do it. Like if developers and studios are in fear of their jobs, or there's too much pressure and tension regarding like the success of their games and stuff like that, unionization is a way to at least mitigate the potential losses, because that's what we're seeing now, like with all these layoffs. Like it's because these developers don't have unions to protect their jobs or to fight for their jobs. And yeah, ultimately this is what studios need to work towards and build towards, because that's how they're going to prevail in terms of like negotiations of pay and uh protections from un what's the word, unlawful termination. If am I saying that right? I don't know. Prevent them from being laid off.
Yeah,
But
you got it.
yeah, but this is good, and I'm glad that more studios are picking up on it. And again, I'll say it again. Hopefully, more studios will follow, because that's ultimately the best case scenario.
There really is. Yeah, it really is. Being able to unionize and to have a say in how much you get paid and making sure you have a job after a game releases, which within this industry, once you release a game, it's pretty much you're done. They don't need you anymore. So
Right.
it's very, very great thing that they did over at the Diablo Studios. Just hope that more people and more studios can do this. I'm actually surprised that Microsoft hasn't fought back a little bit on
Well,
developers unionizing.
I don't think they can.
I
I
mean,
think
they
it's
can.
Well, they can, but without facing scrutiny. I think it's still too fresh off of the ABK acquisition, where they basically promised that they wouldn't fight back. And if they did, it's only been like a year and change since the deal closed.
Yeah, but that was also under the Biden administration. This administration, they don't care, obviously.
I mean, I guess, but still, the FTC is still is against all that stuff. Like that's what their job is. Like especially Microsoft. Like they're always trying to get Microsoft. So if
Yeah.
Microsoft gives them any excuse to try and take them down or to try and break them up or whatever, then they're gonna take it. So
Nah, they just gotta give Trump a gold-plated Xbox.
clearly that works because that's what it worked for Apple. So
It worked for Apple.
I still can't believe that was a thing, man.
Listen, that's a whole nother podcast.
That is that is.
Oh man. I guess we'll keep right on going before it dives into some craziness.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about how Steam was getting some flack about age appropriate or mature games being open to pretty much everybody. And in the UK, Steam has now required age verification for mature game pages. And the way that Steam is going about it is a little bit different than other companies. Steam is going about it where you have to just put a credit card on your account and that will verify your age, because in the UK you cannot have a credit card unless you are 18 or over. This is People were very upset by this, only because this is not just, at first they thought it was for the, those games that were very inappropriate,
Yeah.
games that were definitely not for kids, sexual games and, all these other crazy games. But now it seems to be shifting from those games to any game they deem as inappropriate, whether it be mature rated games, so like Grand Theft Auto, or even like games like Devil May Cry. Any game that is M rated, you're gonna need a credit card to at least see the page or be able to purchase it on your account in the UK.
Yeah. I don't like this. I mean, we spoke about it before and we basically called it. Like we said, because this law was being talked about being put into law in other areas, and now Steam is following suit. It's only a matter of time before like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo follow with their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid. I don't understand why we're letting the government. I know it's in the UK, but knowing our government, again, getting into different territory of gaming, but knowing how our government handles stuff right now, it would not be surprising if they tried to do the same thing over here. And it's like, I don't get it. Why? Who? Like,
The thing is, the way that Steam is going about is a little bit better than other companies. Steam is requiring you just to have a credit card. Other companies require you to upload a picture or upload
we're
your
talking about the
actual
whole
data.
Death Stranding stuff.
Yes, exactly. So they're going about it in a non-invasive, less private way, because who wants their face plastered all over some companies' databases? And then what happens? They get hacked, the information is lost, and that next thing you know, you're getting hacked.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's really kind of crazy that although this is bad for Steam in the UK, they're doing it in a way that would not put them to be liable if, let's say, your information is stolen from whatever, because most people have a credit card and can buy games with a credit card. And if their information is stolen, they can just cancel the credit card, instead of having your face and your name or ID, which with all your information, your date of birth and everything on there, and then that being stolen. And let's say a potential hack or something, which has happened. That's happened. It's happened with Sony. It's happened with Microsoft. Even Nintendo, it's happened before, where all our data was stolen. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this can actually happen.
Right. And that's ultimately the problem, and why I don't like the way they're doing this.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's probably the best way to do it, because most Steam accounts would have is it has to be a credit card, or it can be any card?
Well, they said in the UK they said credit card.
Well, then I'm assuming that like if you get a debit card, like I guess you could technically have a debit card under the age of 18. Because I know like over here you can have like a child debit account.
Yeah, but that comes with a lot of restrictions anyway.
It does, yes. But I think that's why they're choosing credit card, because credit card, you have to be 18.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but it's still, I just don't like that it's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't
Nobody
know
does.
I don't know what the solution is, but I don't like this.
I mean,
That's all I know.
the reason why it's happening is because of Collective Shout, which is a very small group of conservative women in Australia who want to exert their morals on the whole entire world. Which, listen, if you want to not have your children or your husbands or whoever play a certain game, let that be within your household. Let parents choose, let parents actually parent, instead of you putting your own outrage out into the world and you basically running these payment processors and these companies and even the governments to try and tell us what to do.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
I still think, and again, I mentioned this a few episodes ago. I still think the best solution would be to have a unified body that basically acts as the moderator for things, where you have to link your account to it if it's like a child account, and then that will determine like what a user can and can't do. Instead of having to leave it to like having to link your credit card and stuff like that, just have it be automatic, where the parent can just make a child account on this unified body, link it to their Steam ID, the PlayStation ID, Xbox account, all that stuff. Have it be linkable, and then that's it. That's all you have to do, and then it'll basically just do it on the back end instead of having to manually do it for each service.
I hear what you're saying, but also there is a ESRB rating system out there.
Well, that too, but that's we already know that parents, most of them do the bare minimum when it comes to monitoring their child's play.
But again, that's not up to the government and or a particular group of, conservative women in Australia. This should be up to the parents. If you're just allowing your child to go online and play literally whatever game, you're not parenting correctly. You have to monitor
You know what it
them.
is? Also, I think realistically, it's because a lot of parents, and this could be just a generational thing, a lot of parents still think that every game is just like Nintendo. Every game is just like Mario Brothers. Every game is just like Zelda. Every game is just like all those kid-friendly games. And they're shocked and appalled that there's mature rated games that have violence and cursing and all that stuff in it. It's such an antiquated way of thinking that I think it's just a generational thing. Our generation knows better. Like, we grew up with these games. We know what it's like. Even the bare like people who don't even play games like that understand that there are mature rated games. Not every game is kid friendly.
Yeah.
But there's still a large majority of people who still think games are for kids. They're just for kids. And when that's not the truth, that's not close to the truth. So I think that's what the issue is.
Isn't most gamers like between ages like 30 and 40? Like,
yeah, it's
most gamers are older people already.
Yeah.
Yes, of course you have kid gamers, but the majority of gamers happen to be in that age range.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that games relatively are a newer form of media, whereas like, movies and music and TV shows and books have been around for centuries. And well, maybe not centuries in terms of like movies and TV shows, but like,
no, I feel you.
Video games are the newest medium for that. And that's why it's taking longer to get people up to speed about what video games are and what they can be. And I think it's just going to take time. But unfortunately, it won't be in our time where people just understand that video games, they don't need this level of control in terms of like, blocking it from like kids and all that stuff. That should be on the parent. You wouldn't take a kid to see an R-rated movie. Just don't buy an M-rated game for our child. Like, that's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But because they're still stuck in that mentality that video games are for kids, they don't think like that. Even though, like, when they try to buy the game, there's plenty of warnings. Even if you buy a physical, the at least they're supposed to. The people buying or selling the game should warn the parent, hey, this is a mature rated game. They probably don't do it because they probably don't care. But there's safeguards there, but it's up to the parent to like pay attention to it. But that's apparently too much to ask for. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it is. I was gonna go on a small rant, but you said it all.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're absolutely good. I agree with you 100%. All right, let's move on to some, I guess, some rumors about state of play, the Sony state of play. There's been sources who wish to remain anonymous, so take this with a grain of salt. That the next state of play will feature Insomniac's next game, Wolverine. And I'm kind of surprised at this news, because I mean, Insomniac Games in general has had a very tough time since the leaks back in 2023. I
Yep.
don't know when these games will be coming out or anything, but I feel like they've had a really rough go. If they do show Wolverine at the next state of play, which is rumored, by the way, to be at the end of this month, I do hope that they show the game some more and that it's improved since we've seen the game basically at the leaks, the whole game at the leaks, and that we at least get a release day.
Yeah, I think if they are going to show it, then it has to be coming out relatively soon, like 2026 at the latest, like end of 2026, because this was announced in 2021, I think,
Something like that. They
or
teased.
maybe it was 2020. It was teased. It was teased along with Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 2 came out already. So yeah, it's been a long time since this game was announced, and I think it was announced way too early. That's been Sony's downfall for like decades. They always announce games too early. But if the rumors are true and they show this off, I think it has to be coming out soon. That could be why they canceled all the DLC for Spider-Man 2, because they wanted to put all the focus on Wolverine and getting that out the door, because it's been way too long. And
it was teased alongside Spider-Man 2 in 2021.
Yeah, 2021. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. Based on the leaks, I mean, we've seen it. It looked rough, but it was also very early, so things could have changed. I think this has the potential to. I don't want to be this like drastic, but this could make or break Insomniac. I know they've put out bangers, and even Spider-Man 2, for as much, like, I don't want to say hate. I don't think hate is the right word for that. It just, people just were not expecting the, like, I don't know. It just didn't live up to expectations. Let's put it that way.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had fun with the game. I like the game, but it really, like, if you break it down, it felt like a DLC to the first game. Yeah, they added new stuff, and the traversal was easier, and obviously the playing as two Spider-Man was cool, but like the core of the game just didn't change. They didn't change anything, and sometimes that's good, but when you have a game of that caliber and people are very excited for it and wanting it to up the ante. And I feel like that's the thing with PlayStation sequels recently. Like, I felt the same way about God of War Ragnarok. Like, yes, it was great and it's as good as the first game, but like, it's not better than the first game. Like, I don't know. Like, it just felt like more of the same, which is fine. But when you have that level of hype and excitement for the sequel, you expect more from it. Like games of the past, like, it always built upon it. instead of just doing the same thing but just slightly different and with just a little bit more. Like that just feels like a DLC. And I feel like Sony's been doing that for a long time, so I think that's what hurt Spider-Man. But considering this is a new IP, it's kind of like a fresh slate. But if this game doesn't perform the way it should, then I don't know, like, because we saw from the leaks that basically Insomniac is the Marvel studio. Like that's what they have down the pipeline. They have Spider-Man 3, they have a Venom spin-off, they had a X-Men game that they're working on. So I don't know, like it seems like that's what they're doing. And if that's the case, then Wolverine needs to be a home run.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If
Listen,
if this rumor is true, then I hope it has a good showing, because that's what this game needs.
I don't want the game to fail. I want it to be a good game. You know, I want to play. I want it to be a good game. But based off the leaks that we saw, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Very early gameplay from the alpha. I don't think it was close to being done. They might have changed it since then.
Of course. It may have changed. It may have completely be different from the leaks that we saw. But yeah, man, they got their workout cut out for them for sure.
Right. And what's interesting is, so I remember there was, and I don't know how credible the rumor was, or the leak or was, whatever, that apparently Disney has signed a new mandate. It was after Spider-Man 2, I believe. Or at least when development started. I don't know when, like what the timeline is specifically, but they said, and granted, this could be just a random user. I don't know the credibility of it. But I heard that there was supposedly a new mandate from Disney that every Marvel property that they license out has to release everywhere.
Oof.
Yeah, but again, I don't know how true that is, but it would make sense.
Wolverine on Xbox?
I mean, maybe. But it would make sense considering what we did see in the leak and how much Disney demands for the rights to use the IP. It's basically like, it was like somewhere from like 50 to 70% of the revenue. So like it's really crazy. And it's honestly, it's crazy that Spider-Man isn't on more platforms already.
Well,
Like,
it's on PC.
It's on PC, but still, Sony, if they want to keep that IP, it's similar to like MLB, where if they wanted to keep that IP, they had to put it everywhere. And I think that's gonna essentially be what happens going forward, because that is atrocious to basically just make 30% off of every game. That's crazy. Or 50 to 30 to 50, whatever. But that is crazy, and just goes to show that, like, even no matter how much it does sell, Sony is not making that much off of it. Which is why I think when we talked about earlier about more games coming, I think the Spider-Man games are a front runner, because that just makes more sense. Like, why wouldn't Sony put those games on Xbox, make more money, so that way they can, I mean, I know Disney would still make money off of those, but why not? That's ultimately what it is. Why not? Those games sold whatever they're gonna sell on PlayStation. Why not make more money on an Xbox port?
So if what you're saying is correct, Sony only made, let's say on PS2 for Marvel Spider-Man 2, they only made like $90 million.
Yeah, it was something, I forget the breakdown. It was it depended on the bundle, and like if it was a deluxe edition, something.
Yeah.
It was very convoluted.
Well, let's say it's 30%, right?
Yeah.
Like you say, if it's 30%, they only made $90 million, which is crazy when the game costed a ton to make.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it would only make sense to put the game everywhere to make the maximum amount of money.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it for at least for Spider-Man and like the Marvel properties,
Yeah.
it just makes sense to port it to as much platforms as possible because they have to make that money somewhere. And if they're not going to make it on their own platform, then they got to make it elsewhere too. Like, why not? That's what I'm saying. Why not? Maybe they can keep their original IP exclusive to PlayStation. Fine, whatever. But when it comes to licensed IP, it just makes more sense to do it that way. But again, I don't know how true that leak or rumor was. We'll find out. I don't think it will be day and date regardless. It'll probably still be like a staggered release, but I think the time frame for when it releases on PlayStation and at least PC is going to be relatively short. Because what was Spider-Man 2? It was like, was it 6 months?
I think something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was something very quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that they used to do before. So, yeah, well, time will tell. But either way, going back to Wolverine, I think if this is a good showing, then I'll get excited for it. Right now, I'm a little bit like, I don't want to say hesitant, but I'm just like I'm waiting to see what happens because based on like what we saw in the leak, it's not, again, it's old footage, but we don't know how much it's progressed. They had a lot of work to do. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
They did. I guess we can continue with some more Marvel news. This time, Marvel Rivals. So NetEase Games Marvel Rivals released in December of 2024. They released only on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC, leaving out last generation in the cold, which if you didn't know, a significant number of people still play on PS4 and Xbox One. So it left a ton of potential players out. And now I think NetEase has been hard at work trying to optimize the game for PS4 and PS4 Pro. And they're talking about a release on PlayStation 4 September 12th, next week. If you have the base PS4, it's a 1080p resolution with 30 frames locked. And if you have the PlayStation 4 Pro, you look at 1440p resolution with 60 frames locked, and it's only going to be 40 gigabytes of storage, which is nice. It's nice for the older, for last gen, for people who are still on there. Personally, I don't think this is a good idea. You need to leave last gen, leave them alone, let them upgrade. They need to upgrade, get your money up.
Yeah, I think we got to stop holding the hand of last gen players.
Yeah.
They've made their decision in staying on last gen consoles. Maybe that's fine for them. Whatever floats their boat. But they can't continue to hold back these games. And granted, they are backporting it. It's not like they're releasing it in addition to, like, it took a year for it to release this version. And honestly, I think the reason for that is because they're working on a Switch 2 port, and because the range of power is similar to that of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro, they were just like, why not? There's a lot of players still on PlayStation 4, why not?
Yeah.
And I think that's why this decision was made. It's just releasing a PlayStation 4 game in 2025 is crazy work. And honestly, at this point, like, I can't get surprised by this anymore. It would not shock me if on the day that they announce like the next Xbox or the PS6, they are still releasing games for PS4 and Xbox One. Maybe not Xbox One, because I feel like more developers are willing to leave that one behind. But I feel like they're still gonna do it. And if Call of Duty next year is still released on freaking those consoles, I swear to God, like, I'm getting so tired. We're gonna go an entire generation where it just, like, this generation will be the only one where it felt like there was no point in upgrading, or very little point in upgrading. There's so few like games that are worth upgrading for. It's crazy. And I don't understand it. And I know a lot of it had to do with like the pandemic and stuff like that. Publishers just refusing to take the hit and just wanting to make as much money as possible. I don't care. I'm a consumer. I'm not supposed to care. Leave last gen behind. Like, it's done.
Yep.
But I guess, wherever, money talks. That's ultimately what it is. Money talks.
Money does talk.
They see a lot of dollar signs on the PS4, so
All right, let's continue on. This time we get some Microsoft news, and Microsoft is expanding its Xbox Cloud gaming technology to Xbox Game Pass Core and standard subscribers, dropping the requirements for the highest tier on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for access to cloud gaming. So that means that core or standard subscribers will be able to play cloud games, which is great.
Yeah.
Gives them that ability to try out games on their system, which is fine. I'd wonder though. I hope this doesn't lead to potential increases in pricing. I don't think I don't think it will, but who knows with these companies and the way that things are going now. Everything's going up. But
yeah.
it's if you're on core or standard, this is good for you. You get to try out some PC games with cloud, which is awesome. Cloud has had significant strides in quality, in terms of quality.
Yes.
So definitely check out some games if you are now able to. That's really good of them.
Yeah, I definitely I mentioned before, like I recently tried cloud, like the stream your own games stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really come a long way. Obviously, it's not on the level of like a GeForce now, but it's very close. Like I was playing on my phone's hotspot, and that was enough for it to run smoothly.
Oh
So
wow.
I can imagine on like a faster network, it's almost like 1-to-1. Obviously, there's always going to be latency issues, but I feel like it's a good enough experience where you can kind of make that concession that it's not going to look as great, but as long as it plays great, that's what matters. And and I feel like anybody using cloud already understands that it's not going to be like perfect, but you know, I guess with these companies, they want it to be the best it could be. So they're always going to strive to make it better. And I mean, I'm all for that. We've heard before that they're gonna make, because I think right now they're running on Series S consoles as like if you're playing games through the cloud, they're running the Series S version. But I think they're gonna move everything towards either the Series X version of games or on a PC, where you'll basically just stream from a PC, like the Xbox app version, which will honestly be cool. But obviously that can't work for every game because not every game is on the Xbox app on PC. I know they're working to fix that, but still, now that they're expanding it to other tiers for Game Pass, that just makes it more easier for people to try more games, like you said.
Yep.
Especially for like the standard and core, because those are the ones who are more likely to not, because they're not paying for the highest tier. They're not really like, they know what they want, you know?
Yeah.
So
They also
the
they
fact-
don't get those I'm sorry to cut you off, but those tiers of Game Pass, they don't get day one games.
yes.
So them having more games to play because they have less games in that particular tier of Game Pass is also a good thing for those players.
Right. So having more access to those games across all their devices too, because cloud runs on phones, it runs on TVs, it runs on the console, runs on PC. So it's not just that the console that's getting it; they're getting it everywhere else, and that's the great part about it. So
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that it runs on phone because the other day I was at work and it was the end of the day, and my a coworker was telling me that he wanted to get an Xbox to play a game, and I said, "Well, you just get Game Pass Ultimate." And I pulled out my phone and I started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey on my phone. He's like, "Get the hell out of here!"
Yeah,
I was,
I mentioned that a similar situation where one of my coworkers asked me about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was asking me about. I mean, he eventually did get an Xbox, but he was telling me he didn't because I think his Xbox broke or something like that. And he was
Yeah.
asking, and I told him about cloud gaming. I was like, you could play games on the cloud, and
Yep.
he was like, what? Like he was so like thrown back by that being a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, like cloud gaming is gonna reach because right now the audience now it's still new, but the next generation of gaming, like my kids, my son, my oldest son, he only plays just because he doesn't have something to play it like mainly on. He has a Switch, but there's something like with the SD card or whatever. It doesn't read, so he can only play digital games, but there's limited space. So he mainly plays Fortnite through the cloud. So that's his main way of playing, and it's fine for him. Like it works. There's not that much lag, and it just works. And we're able to play Fortnite together. So I think like the next generation of gamers are really gonna be the ones who benefit from cloud because they're gonna see like, oh, this is very convenient as opposed to playing it natively. And not that it's better or anything, but it's more convenient because they can play it anywhere. Because also my son's iPad, because I originally they just released Fortnite on the iOS and iPads and stuff like that, but only on the newer versions. The older versions can't play it. Like my son's iPad, even though it's new, it's still the older version of the iPad.
Oh,
So
damn.
yeah, he can't run it natively. So he has to use the cloud. But because it works so good, he doesn't need to play it natively. It works fine just on the cloud. So yeah, it's come a long way and there's still room to grow. So I'm glad that Microsoft is expanding it. And I think honestly this might be the sign to release it as its own tier. Again, we spoke about it before. I don't know how much that would cost. It can't be more than like maybe like $3 or $4 a month just for
Really?
cloud. I feel like that's reasonable because it's just cloud.
I mean, I feel
Maybe
like if
five,
it's just
maybe five.
I feel like you're being a little like I would say at least 10.
But the only reason why I won't say that is because it's included in bundles that are less than $10. Like core less than $10?
Shoot, I don't know how I pay for Ultimate. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, we pay Ultimate, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I think that's why I would say it should be less because if those are less, then it
Well, yeah,
has to be less.
3 months of you could get 3 months of core for $12.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So
That's crazy.
I think that's why if they were to do a cloud only tier, it would have to be less than 10.
Okay, no, so officially core for 3 months of core is $75. But you can find it online for a lot cheaper.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, either way, it's good and I'm glad.
Yes, for sure. All right, let's keep going. We got still a bunch to get through. We have Attari out of nowhere. It's 2025. We got talking about Attari. Attari has announced strategic IP agreement with Ubisoft to receive 5 acclaimed titles. So Ubisoft and Atari have announced that they are acquiring all intellectual property rights for 5 acclaimed Ubisoft titles with a view to make them available on new platforms. The acquisition includes Cold Fear from 2005, I'm Alive from 2012, Child of Eden from 2011, Grow Home from 2015, and Grow Up from 2016. And the agreement reflects a shared commitment to delivering high quality gaming experiences while honoring the original spirit of the title. Atari will introduce iconic creations, bring them to new platforms, and renewed publishing frameworks. So they're looking to really, I guess, sort of remaster these games and bring them out to the modern age and hopefully to new players.
Yeah, this news came out of nowhere. Like, when was the last time we heard about Atari doing anything? I know they had their I think their retro console that remember that those things where everybody was releasing a retro console?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the last time I heard of like Atari doing anything. But yeah, it's interesting that they would choose these titles and not like bigger ones. Like, I don't know, these were kind of like very obscure. I remember I Am Alive. I played that a little bit on the 360. I remember that. But yeah, it's just very interesting that they chose these games and that maybe they're trying to like bolster up and become like a bigger publisher. I don't know. We don't know what their plans are. They might do more of these, but maybe they thought, oh, if Ubisoft is not gonna do them, why not do these? Get our name out there so they can get funding for bigger titles. I don't know. But it is interesting that they decided now of all times to do this. But we'll see what this does. I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's just very odd to hear about news from Atari.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it because we got some to talk about with Pete Hines, the former company executive at Bethesda, has got something to say. He wants to talk about Game Pass and how subscription models are potentially hurting developers. And he doesn't think that they're good for the company.
Before you continue, I do want to point out that topic of Game Pass was one part of a longer interview that that people online are just picking apart and just hyper focusing on that. Even though the interview is about a range of topics, it always makes me like laugh that people just like hyper fixate on like the stuff that's sensational. It's cool to say that, oh, Game Pass, like something negative about Game Pass will always get the views and the clicks. So it's just funny how like it always seems to happen. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. So some of the quotes that he put out was like subscriptions have become the new 4-letter word, right? You can't buy products anymore. He says when you talk about subscriptions that relies on content, if you don't figure out how to balance the needs of the service and the people running the service with the people who provide the content, without which your subscription is worth jack shit, then you have a real problem. And that's right there, that quote. Without your subscription is worth jack shit, then you have a real problem. But I mean, isn't that like how can you say this? It's obvious.
No shit.
Yeah, exactly. No shit. You can't have a subscription service without content. And if the publisher is not supporting the developers, then you can't have content in general. Well, obviously it's working. Game Pass has reports of 35 plus million subscribers. They're pumping out content like crazy on Game Pass. Just this week alone, between this week and last week, they had a ton of games released on Game Pass. So the content is there. And the whole thing where people don't, but Xbox gamers specifically don't buy games is just, or it's just ridiculous. And the fact that say games dropping in Game Pass hurt sales, bullshit. Silk Song came out on Game Pass the other day and already reached 500,000 players on Steam, and that's out of Game Pass. They purchased that game. So the fact that it does not cannibalize sales just completely takes that one particular sentence and just makes it mute. It just doesn't even exist. It's a non-starter argument that people are hyper focusing on, like you said earlier, to try and fuel some sort of more console war for their channel. In reality, Game Pass is doing fine. Sales numbers for games are doing fine, and Xbox gamers buy games because you see that with Silksong, you see that with Helldivers 2, you see that even with games like the Rogue Prince of Persia, which has been doing really well. You see that across the board.
Yeah, I think what Pete Hines is saying is it's kind of like a half truth Like what he's saying makes sense. Like obviously, like we said, like no shit. Yeah, you need the content. And then there was another part where he was saying that I'm trying to remember like what was the context. He was saying something about Game Pass causing tension for developers because it causes them to like think about how they make games and stuff like that, and it's not easy to compete with other games and on the service because um like people's attention spans are very short,
Yeah.
which that goes for everything. That goes for, because I mean this is the TikTok era that we're living in. Like everything you need to get to the point quick or get out. Like that's just the era we live in now. Yeah, he was saying something to that effect, and people were trying to make it seem like, oh, Game Pass hurts developers because it causes them to be more stressed and stuff like that. But they're neglecting the fact that it's not like, and it always goes back to this. The people who are criticizing Game Pass seem to be under the impression that one, games only release on Game Pass,
Yeah.
and two, that they don't get paid to put their games on Game Pass. So it's like I don't understand why people still think that these developers are just putting their games on Game Pass all willy-nilly for nothing. No, they get paid up front and they get paid a dividend based on whatever the agreed upon sum was. Sometimes is based off of downloads, sometimes it's based off of engagement, sometimes it's based off playtime. Like there's many different factors that can determine how much a developer gets paid, but they're always paid up front. And that's the crucial point. It's up to the developer to decide if it's worth putting their game on Game Pass or not. And we've seen so many developers do it. Freaking Squanch Games, they put High on Life on Game Pass. And guess what? Their return on interest was so good, they're putting High on Life 2 on Game Pass as well. Silksong, we just saw it. Hollow Knight, the first one, is on Game Pass. Guess what? The return on interest was so good, they're putting the sequel on Game Pass. Expedition 33, they don't have another game, but it was former Ubisoft devs. They got a big bag to put the game on Game Pass. Who knows if they're going to put their other game on Game Pass? They don't have to, but if they see it worth it, then why not? So we got to stop this notion that they're just getting paid peanuts to put their games on Game Pass. That's not true. It's not true. They're getting money. They're getting funding. And that's what they need. They need funding because all these games, they're requiring so much return in revenue that it's scary out there. There's a lot of games that live and die based off sales. And a lot of indie developers, especially indie developers, they can't take that risk. So they take the Game Pass deal and then they go off with it. They use that to fund their next project and or to fund their expansions or whatever the case may be. But yeah, this whole thing with Game Pass, and honestly, it comes off as just ignorance. And this is crazy because Pete Hines, he should be up, he would have known better. Like he should know. But granted, he was only there for like less than a year before he left. So maybe he just didn't have a full grasp on how Game Pass really affected like their games and the ideology and stuff like that. There was an interview with one of the Indiana Jones devs that just came out recently, and they were talking about how, and again, they picked apart this one line from the interview and they just ran with it, where basically the developer said that Game Pass, like a lot of Game Pass users, they tend to dip in and try the game out 5 minutes and then dip out. But they weren't trying to put it as a detriment to Game Pass. They were just trying to convey that because it's on Game Pass, more people are going to just try the game, and if it's not for them, then they're going to dip out. That is normal. That because the game is on Game Pass, that is normal. If the game wasn't on Game Pass, those people would not even buy the game.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. So it's up to the developers that are on Game Pass or that are considering putting their game on Game Pass to decide, hey, is the game good enough to keep the attention of our potential players? And it causes them to think, okay, how does the game start? Does it start right away? Like, what's the hook in the first like 5 minutes, 10 minutes? It's causing a lot of different things to come about. But those are things that they would have had to think about regardless, because these games are also competing with free-to-play games like Fortnite, like Roblox, like Warzone. All these games that are time sinks that don't require anything other than time. People are willing to just dive in and be like, okay, let me just play. It's free. Why not? Those games are competing with the paid games. And what are people more likely to play? Free games. So it's not like they wouldn't have to think about this anyway. It's just Game Pass is causing more of developers to think about it ahead of time. So this whole notion that like, oh, it's causing tension for Game Pass developers. Yeah, it's causing tension, but that tension was already there because they're forced to think about this stuff because of the rise in popularity of these free-to-play games.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what he meant by that. Again, maybe he meant something different, but that tension was always going to be there because it existed before Game Pass was a thing. The rise in free to play, you know how many battle royale games that like the AAA games had to compete with? Like that was a whole thing. Like people remember there was a point in time that Bethesda was doing a whole campaign, I think it was called Save Player One, where it was basically to save single player games because they were falling behind in favor of free to play battle royale multiplayer games. That was a thing before Game Pass. So I don't get why this whole fixation about Game Pass being the detriment to the industry is happening, because it's not just Game Pass. Like there's more factors at play that will cause struggles for developers. But Game Pass at least gives them the option to mitigate the risk of putting their game out against a bigger title. Because I remember I was talking with somebody on Twitter about it, and they were saying, oh, like you think that what was the example you used? Oh, South of Midnight. That South of Midnight, you think it's fair that South of Midnight had to compete with a game that came out 2 weeks later in Oblivion Remastered? And I was like, okay, let's take those games off of Game Pass and have them released traditionally. What game do you think more people are willing to buy? It's probably going to be Oblivion, because that's a proven commodity. Oblivion, like people love that game. And because of that, South of Midnight wouldn't even stand a chance. Nobody would care about that game. But because they're both on Game Pass, it's an even playing field. People can play what they want when they want. And that's the benefit of Game Pass. They don't have to worry about competing with bigger titles, because gamers will gravitate towards whatever they're going to gravitate towards. Instead of, oh, if I have to choose, I'm going to pick the one that I know I'm going to like. So, I'm sorry that I went on a whole rant, and I was I was holding that in for a while.
I can
It's just,
tell.
yeah, it's just, it
Listen.
gets me so frustrated that people are just, they're so short-sighted with this stuff. And I'm a nobody. Like, I don't even know the inner workings, but this stuff is so, it should be common sense. You can see it. Just think about like human and gamer behavior, and it all makes sense. But no, they want Game Pass to be, it's the same thing that happened with Netflix when they first came out. It's the same thing. People just don't like subscriptions. And I get it. People are traditionalists. They like to buy their games. They like to have their games. There's people who still freaking buy physical. They put them on a shelf. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Why would you want a piece of plastic to put on a shelf? What good does that do? But people still want to do it. And that's fine. But don't try to shit on the new thing just because it's new. And Game Pass is not even new.
Exactly. I was just gonna say it's like 9 years old by now.
Yeah, it's
and we're
almost
still
gonna be
talking about this.
Yeah, it's exhausting at this point. Everybody is so against Game Pass because it's something different. And again, the same thing with Netflix, same thing with freaking Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, all this stuff. People are so against it, but then they'll be the first ones to have a subscription to it. So I just don't like the disingenuous like commentary regarding it, because they're and I've seen plenty of them. There's Game Pass, or people who talk shit about Game Pass talk about how it's a detriment to the industry, but then on the same freaking side, they're paying for it. So it's like, what are you doing? Are you for it or are you against it? I don't get it, but yeah, that's it. Rant over.
Rant over. Oh man. No, but you're absolutely, you've 100% hit it on the head, nail on the head, and you got it. You know, it's ridiculous at this point. You know,
And it just sucks that it's somebody like Pete Hines who should know better, but and I
Well,
don't want to
know what it
use
is?
this as like an excuse or something like that, but it's always the former employees, right? It's
Yeah.
always the former employees. Like, yeah, you can say, oh, they're free to speak and stuff like that, but there's former employees who just don't say anything.
You know what it is? It reminds me of, it's like that meme, the old man screams at the sky meme. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like, no matter what, we can sit here talk blue in the face about who should and shouldn't benefit or whatnot, but it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. Microsoft and Game Pass are successful. You know, it's proven, the numbers are there, the revenue is there. You know what I'm saying? It's not going away, you know, and developers are being paid. That's been proven again. So it's just nonsense opinions from people who are former, you know, members of said company.
yeah, and that's the thing
You wonder
too.
why they're former.
Yeah, there's plenty of examples that you can look up of Game Pass benefiting developers, and they've spoken openly about it. Now, maybe there's just like it considered taboo to comment on these types of things, which is why more developers don't do it. But you can look it up. The information is there. It's just the fact also that Microsoft in particular doesn't release hard numbers, so people
Again.
can't dissect it. So they have to just rely on opinions and speculation in order to form their opinion, like to form their outlook on the service, instead of just like letting the service be and speak for itself. But that's neither here nor there.
We still have a few more stories to get to.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sony, how they're reportedly going to decrease the size of the SSD for the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition in Europe. So this is a reliable leaker, Bill Kun, said that the current PS5 Digital Edition comes with a 1 terabyte SSD, and the leaker claims that a newer version that comes with an 825 gigabyte SSD will go on sale next week, the 13th, in Europe, for the same price, $500. So they're not lowering the price with a lower SSD; it's the same price, which for me just reads like they talked. Sony specifically talked a lot about how the SSD is powerful and it's the best, and it can, you know, run games like Ratchet and Clank with like super speeds, and then they go ahead and take some of the SSD away, but keep the price the same. The price increase that they did just a couple weeks back the same. It's all a shams. It really is. I feel like Sony at this point in this generation with the PS5 is just a big scam.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a scam. It's just they are very much taking advantage of their market leadership, and they're basically just doing whatever the hell they want. They're just like, hey, look at what they'll pay for less. They'll pay the same thing for less.
Yeah.
And these gamers are proving them right time and time again. They will just pay for whatever. And it's so
true.
I don't get it. It's so stupid.
because me and you, we're in that bubble. You know, we're on that Twitter bubble. Zero of the PlayStation creators have came out and said anything about this. They
Nope.
have not even whispered it. They've been talking about Xbox and Game
They've
Pass.
been talking
Though.
about Game Pass, yeah.
You're talking about Game Pass, but when Sony does something that's anti-consumer, like reducing the size of the SSD, which is crazy, by the way, considering how big some of these games are, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and the SSD wasn't that big to begin with. So
I think you only had like 860 gigs after the OS
yeah,
on the system. So now what do you have? You have like what 740, 750?
yeah, it's
That's
ridiculous.
crazy.
And I know they'll say like, "Oh, you can just swap it out," but it's like that's not the point. They're giving you less for the same price. Like instead of just taking the hit and being like, "Here, yeah, we'll just take the hit," market conditions and stuff like that. No, they're passing the cost off to the consumer. That's any company that does that, including Xbox, which they have done, is stupid. Like I don't get that. Why would you? I don't know.
Yeah. We'll fight about it all night with Sony.
Yes, but they've done this. They it's not just them. That's why I don't get. It's like it's a clear win for the consumer. Like if they wanna like get a leg up on like everybody else, it would make more sense to just take the hit. But no, they just follow what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's continue on. We have news out of Call of Duty. Activision has confirmed that operators and operator skins and even weapons from Black Ops 6 will not transfer over into Black Ops 7. The announcement comes as part of Treyarch and Raven's broader vision to return to the identity of Call of Duty earlier roots, with Black Ops 7 described as a spiritual successor to Black Ops 2, which I mean, I think it's a good thing. A lot of people have been talking about specifically all the crazy skins like the Beavis and Butthead and American Dad and the
Yeah.
Zeus and whatnot, and even Ninja Turtles and Terminator. They're like, we don't want to see that anymore. It's been, over with. So, um, not bringing over those skins to Black Ops 7 is a good thing. But also, I don't know if you've seen the skins for Black Ops 7. It's already kind of a little bit of ridiculous. Like they're trying to get back to roots, but like it's like I mean, it looks kind of still
It's
ridiculous. I mean,
still
it's
kind
not.
of silly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not American Dad ridiculous, but it's still like okay,
So I'm of two minds on this. On
Okay.
the one hand, I wasn't a big fan of mainly the cell shaded ones because I feel like those contrast more with like the Call of Duty aesthetic than other ones because it's like it does not fit in what you're trying to like in like the style that Call of Duty gives. It just felt like it was forced in there. And yeah, it's cool, it's funny, it's stupid, but it felt like a drastic change or just it was just something very different from what you would normally see from like a skin or whatever. And I know they've done that before, but I feel like they really went hard this game with those types of skins. And on the one hand, like I don't care about what other people buy and stuff like that. If anything, it makes it easier for people who see those skins. Yeah, they'll call it an eyesore and stuff like that, but it makes it easier to spot. So I don't see that as a bad thing. Like, yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, you got to look at it, but it makes for an easier kill when you see freaking Beavis's fro or whatever hairstyle he has sticking out from the corner of like a thing, whatever. Like that makes it easier for you to get him because you can see him. He stands out. So I was always of that mentality. But the whole carryover thing, it kind of is cool. Like not cool. It's good that they're refocusing on what they want to do with the skins going forward. But it also kind of sucks because I know a lot of people spent a lot of money and a lot of time with those skins, especially the zombie skins. Because I know a lot of people were very pissed about that. Because those zombie skins you had to work for. And those are not carrying over. And
I
granted,
mean,
technically, those like it's a different game.
yeah.
Like Modern Warfare 3 didn't carry over to Black Ops 6, so but Modern Warfare 2 did carry over to 3, so you got that like 2-year, um, buffer before you had to give up and start all over.
You know what it is
So,
though? A lot of those skins will still be available on Warzone. You know?
well, so yeah, all these skins are available on Warzone.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
always like the thing.
Yeah. So if you want to play and still have your skins on Warzone, they're still there. They just won't be in Black Ops 7 multiplayer, the single player, and or zombies. Look at it as a different game. That's all it is.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think also it might cause people to be more um hesitant with the game or with the skins that they buy. Is it really worth buying the skin knowing that, like, for example, like the Beavis and Butthead stuff, like a few months later it's just going to become like nothing unless you decide to continue playing Black Ops 6, which I guess that's fine. Most people do that anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're fine with that, then I guess it's not a big deal. But if you're somebody who always wants to move up to the next game, then I can see it being an issue. And for me, like I don't think I bought a skin. Yeah, I don't think I bought a skin.
I
So
did.
I was waiting for one because I know they were talking about doing a WWE collaboration again, but maybe that might be for Black Ops 7. I don't know. I was waiting for that. That was the only one I was waiting for where I would have bought stuff, but it never happened. So I never bought anything. So, but yeah, I think it's good and it's bad. There's good parts about it and it's bad, but regardless, I think that it is still more of a good thing because it shows that the studio is paying attention to the reception of these skins, and hopefully they'll dial it back a little bit, or at least be more realistic with the style of stuff. Like we don't need freaking Seth Rogen and a weed gun to be something like that. The what was it? Uh Squid Game collaboration. That
Oh,
was pretty cool. Like I felt like that fit, you know? Like it wasn't too much of a contrast with the style of the game, you know? But
I
once
feel
they
you.
started doing with the American Dad stuff and the Beavis and Butthead, and it started to get a little ridiculous. It real let's be honest. They were playing up to weed culture a lot, which you can kind of see like the crossroads of those people and Call of Duty players, a
What
lot
do you
of them are the
mean those
same.
people?
But you know what I mean. Like
No, I
the
know. I
cross
know.
section between those audiences are they come close together a lot. So I think they were leaning too much into it though, that it caused a lot of uh not conflict, but like tension between like the traditional Call of Duty players and stuff like that. But yeah, just tone it down a little bit, and I feel like it'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get to the last bit of news, and it's about Call of Duty still. So, Call of Duty has been officially announced for a live action movie, and they struck a deal with Paramount to make this live action movie. And this is a surprise. It's like out of nowhere. I mean, the game has been around for like, I don't know, 20 something, 22 years, something like that. It's been a very, very long time. It's had all the way from PC to modern times. We have
Yeah,
Black Ops and Modern Warfares, and it's just been so many iterations of Call of Duty. I'm surprised they haven't done a movie by now, but
yeah,
I'm really glad that they're gonna be making a movie within at least to have the Call of Duty title to see what they come up with. It's been a whirlwind of trying to figure out who will be like directing and like trying to figure out who would be the best director. And this news came out, I think it was last week, and this week we got some more updates on it. Apparently, Steven Spielberg approached Activision to do the movie, and Activision backed out because Steven Spielberg wanted full control of like the story and the writing of the movie, and they were spooked by that. They didn't want to lose full control of the movie, so they backed out, and that's when it was sold off to Paramount, where I guess they can, have more of a say and a little bit more control about Call of Duty. Which to that I say, you dropped the ball major big time. Steven Spielberg did some of the best war movies out there, even the best TV shows about war with Band of Brothers, The Pacific, Saving Private Ryan. Some of the best war movies of our time was done by Steven Spielberg, and I feel like they really dropped the ball there.
So I get where you're coming from, and if Steven Spielberg was attached to this movie, I have no doubt that he would have done a great job with it, because I mean, obviously his history speaks for itself in
Yeah.
terms of like war movies and stuff like that. He knows how to make it. But the thing is, when I think of Call of Duty, I'm not thinking of like a deep rooted double meaning like like a type of movie that Steven Spielberg where like it will make you think about stuff. It'll make you think like deeper inside of like yourself, like, oh, like what does this mean? Like how can it reflect on myself and stuff? He with his movies, it makes you think. When I think of Call of Duty, I don't think about anything. It's like I don't. It sounds stupid. But
No,
when
come
I think
on.
when I think of Call of Duty, I think of typical run of the mill action popcorn flick. That's what I think about.
Yeah,
That's
but you also,
cool
you
set pieces, like violence and just like nonstop action. That's what I think of. And
Steven
I feel like
Spielberg can do that.
so he can, but I feel like he wants it to be like a deeper film, like he's trying to like Oscar bait it or something like that. I feel like that's with the whole control aspect of it. I think that's what he was trying to angle for. And
So,
I think
so
he
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you want like Jarheads 2 versus like a Saving Private Ryan?
No, I want I'm trying to think of a good example. I want freaking Transporter. I want the
Transporter.
Expendables. I want Rambo. I want Alien versus Predator.
All right, calm down.
Like I want those just action flicks. I just want to sit down and enjoy what's on the screen. I don't want to think too hard about it, because when I'm playing Call of Duty, that's what I do. I don't think too hard about it. It's very simple, bare bones story. Yes, there can be like some memorable moments. And that's also, I wanted to ask you too, like, how do you think they would approach this? Is it going to be a story based in the Call of Duty world, or is it going to be a retelling of a Call of Duty story?
If it's gonna be successful, it's gotta be a story within the Call of Duty world, not a retelling of a video game that was already done. I think that's my personal opinion. If they're gonna take like a Modern Warfare and just basically make it into a movie, I think that's gonna be trash. It's gonna be a whack movie.
But
You
I
know,
feel like that could be like a way to get people to watch. Because remember, a lot of people, they know Call of Duty as the multiplayer game. And so many people don't even touch the campaign. So that would kind of be like a new experience for them. And it will also get them to want to try the game. Because if you make it too different from the game, people are not going to want to. Well, I guess there are examples of like
listen,
media.
it's gonna be a movie based on a video game. It's definitely not gonna be Oscar worthy, but if you want it to have a chance of at least being really good, you give it to a director that knows what the fuck they're doing, specifically with war movies. And
I
Steven
don't.
Spielberg would have been perfect.
Nah,
That's it. It would have been perfect.
I don't think so. I honestly, if what's this guy's name? Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick. The guy, because I know he's working on the Gears of War movie. The
Well,
guy who did John Wick.
Well, me and brother Matt been talking about it separately, and he thinks that the director for End of Watch and Fury and the Beekeeper, the Working Man, his name is David Ayer, would be perfect for like a Call of Duty movie. He also did the movie Bright
Oh yeah,
with Will Smith that was on Netflix.
I did see that. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yes. So he's done a lot of movies. He even did like Training Day. So he has, that action, the storytelling, and he would be a good
Okay.
director for this movie.
All right, can we agree that keep Michael Bay away from this?
100% agree.
Okay.
100% agree.
That I will agree. Just don't do it. I know he's the action flick guy, but don't do it.
No, Paramount's gonna give it to Michael.
Oh my god.
That will be so funny if that actually happens.
I mean, if they want to freaking cater to the lowest common denominator, then I guess that's what you do.
That's what I think you meant by saying I just want an action flick. Yeah, then okay, then give it to Michael Bay.
I want quality. I don't want it to be deeper than it needs to be. Because I know Steven Spielberg, he tends to go a little bit too hard with like the deeper meanings of war and like I get it, but that I don't, at least for me, that's not what I think about when I think Call of Duty. But I do want quality. I don't want it to be just regular run of the mill bare bones stuff. Like I want something there. I just don't think he's fit for that.
You know what? I'll agree with you on the Michael Bay part. I'm still mad at you about Steven Spielberg.
He's also old. Like, what does he know about freaking Call of Duty? Like,
you know what? Let's end the show right here, right now.
Okay.
That was terrible. Oh no. I do agree with you. Like he may not. He's actually. You'll be surprised that read up on it after it came out. Steven Spielberg is a big fan of Call of Duty. He plays Call of Duty. So
really, okay, that's actually surprising. Yes.
Well, okay. I mean, it's not even famous actor like Robin Williams. He played Call of Duty a lot. So the game is big. It's a big game. Lots of people play Call of Duty. So
like you said earlier, I'm surprised that it did take this long because Call of Duty is a household name. Like you say Call of Duty, people know exactly what you're talking about. Like it's just it's one of those games where everybody just knows about it. Even if they don't play it, if they don't like it, they still know about it. So it's weird that it took this long to make it into a movie. But yeah, we'll see. We'll follow this obviously, and time will tell if this actually becomes something worth seeing.
Yeah, time will tell. That's it. That's all we got for the news.
Yeah, we had to cover like 2 weeks worth because we didn't do an episode last week.
It's okay. That was good.
Yeah, it happens. All right. So with that being said, remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to us on a podcasting app, you can rate us and share us with all your friends and family. Also, if you look in the description, you can see our sponsors, which is W Energy, NordVPN, and Starforge PCs. If you support them, they'll support us, and we will thank you and thank them. That's it. We will see you guys next week. Peace.
Limerick.
Perfect.